So, throughout this book, we're going to go through the 10 steps involved in policy analysis. And you're going to want to go through each of these steps so you can have an analytical basis for your communication to policymakers and the public about your science and technology policy topic. So, the first one, which is actually the most challenging, is trying to focus on what societal problem will be the focus of your analysis. Now, the tendency is to say, oh, what are we going to do about climate change? But climate change is too big. There's so many different actions that you can take to respond to climate change that it can just overwhelm people. And that's not how policy is made. Policy is made through very small, incremental changes in a particular policy. Even if it's a big, giant bill, each little action has analysis behind it. So in this chapter, I talk to you about how to narrow down that problem so that it comes from something big, like climate change, to something that is feasible for analysis. And throughout that process, you're going to look at the root causes. You're going to look at what the public thinks about the problem, what solutions they identify, what has worked in the past and what hasn't worked. And by doing that background research, you're going to be able to focus on the particular societal problem that you want to be the focus of your analysis. So throughout the book, we're going to focus on one societal problem as an example, and that are households headed by a single woman with children and infants. This population has the highest rate of food insecurity in the United States. And there's lots of reasons behind that. And so what we need to do is identify the root causes and try to find ways to respond to those challenges. Then another part of better understanding the problem is trying to understand possible solutions from the perspective of experts in the field and the stakeholders themselves, those women who have those infants and children. What are their barriers to accessing food? So it's also important to identify the policymaker who is the focus of our analysis. Who is it that we want to make a different decision so that children and infants in households headed by a single mother have less hunger? And in the United States, that is the U.S. Department of Agriculture and a special office within the USDA. So with that in mind, we're going to go through the rest of the analysis steps to identify possible policy options, analyze those policy options, and come up with a key message for policymakers as to what actions they should take to reduce food insecurity for households headed by a single woman that have infants and children.